Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is where we talk about all things cozy, hobbies and low spend living. Today we're going to be talking about my September personal curriculum, and I'm also going to be teaching you some of the tips and tricks that I learned throughout following my first monthly curriculum in August. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please do stick around, and I'll also have timestamps in the description below if you want to jump ahead to a particular part of the video. And before I dive in, I just want to say that it has been such a joy talking to you all about your curriculums, seeing that other people are interested in this topic as well, and it's just so nice to be talking about a trend that isn't centered around shopping or spending money. Of course, we can all go down the rabbit hole of buying loads of books and stuff like that, but let's be real, we can get all of this stuff for free from our libraries, from online sources, and from borrowing and sharing resources, which is really important to me. There's just a way for everyone to participate in this. And I am back with my trusty brain dump notebook, all my notes here, and I'm just going to talk to you first of all a little bit about some tips and tricks to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. Two types of takeaways from this. There's the tangible in terms of what I learned, what I read, the media I consumed, and then the intangible in terms of how doing this practice is impacting my life in many different ways. So I just quickly wanted to talk about both, because I know that a lot of people are starting their personal curriculum journeys, and of course we expect to learn whatever we've put on our syllabus for the month, but you'd be surprised how developing this new practice can impact other aspects of your life. And I think one in particular for me was listening to others discuss their joys in terms of what they're passionate about. It really is opening you up to be able to discuss things, interests, and share with others on a deeper level about personal interests. Another key thing that the monthly curriculum has done is allowed me to slow down and deeply connect with what I am consuming. It's a lot more intentional, and because I decide that I want to research so many topics in a month, it means that I'm a little bit more focused and I'm a little bit less likely to spend a lot of time scrolling on my phone and just wasting hours. Don't get me wrong, I still love a phone scroll, and I feel like the whole thing of physical media, in particular DVDs, is a lot more ritualistic. It kind of lends itself to more intention when you're consuming it. For example, this DVD, I need to think about, when am I going to play this? I insert it into the DVD player, kind of a more considered thing than scrolling through Netflix. Another example of this is that I got the Barbie movie on DVD from my local library, and I watched it when I was doing my nails. I love that movie so much, and then I decided to have a movie night with my parents, and we scheduled, okay, we're going to watch Barbie this evening. It was something that made me think and say, oh wow, that was something that used to be more common, and I'm sure some people still do movie nights, but I feel like being like, okay, I have rented this, I only have so long to consume it, we need to make a plan and we're going to watch it. Another thing that came up for me, which will segue into my curriculum for this month, is allowing yourself to trust your own intuition and trust your inner artist. Allow yourself to be guided from one thing to the next. Core topic last month was graphic design, and I spent a bit of time going through that, and from doing my bit of research on that, and I watched a brilliant documentary on Helvetica, the font, got that from the library as well, sparked something in my brain, and I was like, yeah, there is something really nice about taking that considered time to think about how a word looks, and that led me down the rabbit hole of filofaxes. So I got my first filofax. I feel like my mum had these during the 90s as well. I probably will do a full video on a filofax, like separate, and I have like a section for habit trackers, I have a section for my monthly curriculum, like some poems I've printed out, the basic principles from The Artist's Way, so I have them to hand. From there I ended up with a traveller's notebook. it is a real leather one. It's a dupe. It's not the actual Traveller's Notebook brand. I got this one from AliExpress, and I ended up getting my mum one for her birthday as well. Field notes are your friend. This is a place for you to jot down whatever is coming up in your brain, whatever it is that you might want to pay a bit more attention to. You might want to put into your personal curriculum, or you might want to tweak one of your modules to fit in. I currently have a field notes list in my Filofax, and it just means that when I'm out in the wild, I have somewhere to write down these thoughts, because if you're like me, if you put notes in your phone with no context, you end up with all these notes, all these random notes, and you're like, what does this mean? This cryptic message. Whereas, and then I forget about them and I come back to them and they mean nothing to me. When you're diving into so many topics, your brain is going to be working in the background when you go out for a walk or when you're doing something else passive, and you might get this idea, and if you don't record that, you will probably forget about it. And yes, I do have loads of notebooks. They all serve different purposes. All of that to say, I think trusting the creative breadcrumbs. So I'm picturing like Hansel and Gretel walk into the house, except it's not an evil witch waiting at the end, but you are basically consuming whatever the topic is that you have decided to study, and from there that will help you form your next point of interest, be it in the same topic or be it a little pivot away from where you currently are. So you'll see that when I go through my personal curriculum for September, there is like a through line through everything. Like there is a theme, but also that some things I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna love this is gonna work. You know what, I thought this is what I wanted to dive into, but it's actually not. Being excited and ambitious and having tons of stuff you want to learn about, like that's not a bad thing, and that's not what I'm saying, because I have seen some people criticizing this model saying, oh, it's too much, or like, how could you read all of that, or if you're not writing a research paper at the end, there's no point. And like, that's ridiculous, because we're doing this for fun. We're doing this because this is like a hobby. This is how we want to spend our time, and these are topics that we are interested in. Being comfortable enough to tweak your curriculum is just part of the process. So it will shift, it will change, and that's why I personally like the post-it note approach. It doesn't feel as if I'm like committing to this and I have no choice. It's like, this isn't actual university, this is my university and I am the dean, and as the dean I say that we can amend and change. I would caveat that by saying I'd give things a month or a few weeks before I say not for me. And that goes back to what I was saying about getting things from the library, borrowing things, secondhand bookstores. It's because books are expensive, and if you're not sure on them, that's an expensive mistake. So I would just say use your library, and then if there is a topic you really like and you feel like, okay, I need to own this book or DVD or whatever it is, then go for it, absolutely. But do not spend your money on things that you're not sure about. And I say this as someone who has done this in the past. Another good tip that I wanted to share with you is using your first past sources to help inform the rest of your learning. So what I mean by that is basically, if you have a book, I'm just picking this up because this is the closest one to me. So if I had this book and I really enjoyed it and I was like, okay, I would like some more information on this topic, usually in the back you're going to find a list of other sources that the author recommends, or maybe that the author has written, or what they've pulled from themselves in order to create this work. So don't be afraid to do that, because essentially this person who's written the book has done that work for you. So make it easy for yourself, or do feel free to Google something. I know there's Google Scholar as well that you can use to help build upon what your interest is, because sometimes it is tricky and you don't want to spend so much time researching that you don't actually get to consume the information. Following on from that would be not to be afraid to mix sources of inspiration. So I'll give you an example to explain what I mean. So I've gotten really into listening to classical music in the mornings, particularly when I'm doing my morning pages for the Artist's Way. And this song came on and I felt like I'd heard it before. And this composer basically did the score for the original Blade Runner movie, which I haven't seen.
What do you mean you've never seen Blade Runner?
amazing movie that helped shape so many things that came after it and was underappreciated at the time. I've ordered Blade Runner from the library, and that's part of my September curriculum. So that's just an example of how there was a crossover between classical music to a movie that I want to watch. Don't be afraid to think outside of where you're usually getting your inspiration from, and don't pigeonhole yourself that it has to be a book or it has to be a documentary or it has to be music. Keep a record of what you're consuming. So you might have your plan for the month and then you might edit that down as you go through the month, and that's what I've done. But keep a record of what you have consumed and a little note on it. You don't have to do a full review if you don't want to, but I think that's really important. It's not a memory test. It's not as if you have to remember every single detail about what you consumed. It's more so that you can look back and say, oh wow, I did do all these things I said I wanted to do, or I tried this out and this didn't work. Again, if you watched my previous video, I'm going to share the same message. There is no pressure here. You don't need to block off 3 hours straight to be like, I'm studying, no one disturb me. A different way of using our free time and a different habit. So of course at the start it's going to feel a little bit out of the norm, but as you get more into it, you're actually going to just find your way. Don't be afraid to kind of mix and match the way that you consume your personal curriculum. And also, it doesn't have to be like, I'm at the desk, I'm reading, I'm taking notes. It can look however you want it to look. It's like we're a creative compost bin, like we're inputting all this stuff into ourselves, and you'll be so surprised at like the ideas or the thought shifts that you have from taking the time to consume topics that you are interested in. Taking time to connect and not just passively consuming, but like having an opinion and starting to get into the habit of forming an opinion is really important, which leads me nicely to my monthly curriculum for September. So I will go through it with you all, and please do let me know how you're getting on with your own curriculums. I have been loving chatting to you all about it, and again, if there's anything that you think I could do differently or anything I'm missing, please do let me know, because I know some of you have been talking to me about different TV series and like just about how you're researching stuff. So I feel like this is like a community space. It's not me telling you how to do this. This is just me taking a bit of time to show you how I'm doing it. But please let me know in the comments if you have anything to add, or even if you disagree with anything I've said, like tell me. We are back with our big notebook, and again I will have this in my Google Docs, a soft copy, but I do my hard copy first. I will be linking a template to my personal curriculum in the description below, so if that's something that you would be interested in, please do check it out, because I know one or two of you did ask me for that, so it is there for you if you want it. This is September, and I have to say I love September. I think it's the best month. I think it's the true new year. I am and forever will be an academic calendar girl, and I feel like to me September makes more sense than a new year in January in the depths of winter. Like, no. So I have two big quotes here. They're a bit bigger than last time, but when I was reading them, I was like, I need to show the whole quote. I know I could have like cut it down a little bit, but I was like, no, we'll put the whole one in. And I got new post-it notes, so we have a lovely color coded monthly curriculum, which I love it. I'm just such a colour visual girl, so for me that is a lot nicer. So I will start by reading the first of the quotes, just because it ties into some of my modules for this month. So this is by Anne Lamott, who wrote Bird by Bird, which is one of the books I've been reading for the past month as part of my Writers 101 module. And she said, I like to think that Henry James said his classic line, a writer is someone on whom nothing is lost while looking for his glasses, and that they were on top of his head. We have so much to remember these days, so we make all these lists filled with hope that they will remind us of all the important things to do and buy and mail, all the important calls we need to make, all the ideas we have for short stories or articles. And yet, by the time you get around to everything on any one list, you're already behind on another. Still, I believe in lists, and I believe in taking notes, and I believe in index cards for doing both. So that leads nicely to one of my modules, which includes index cards, but I will start at the start. We are keeping the same format as what we did in August, but we have changed it up a little bit. So I have my core units in the green, I have my monthly modules in the blue, and then I have my reading electives and my magic and delight down here. Be continuing with the artist's way in September, and that will still be the morning pages, the weekly artist date, and the weekly reflection and the weekly exercise. So I am starting week 3. I haven't actually read the introduction in full for that yet, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'm going strong with it. I've been doing my morning pages mostly every day, and I would still recommend you guys to give this a shot, even if you don't consider yourself to be artistic. I do think everyone is artistic, but I think the book itself is really good in helping you to form new habits, being more intentional about what you consume, and just doing more of what we want to do instead of making excuses. Next, we have made a little bit of a tweak here. So if you watch my previous video, you will know that in the month of August I did a little module called Writers 101. So I've made a big change, and this is actually going to be a core unit. I know, very exciting. So because I got so many books out of the library and I am still reading them, I'm still digesting them, and I was like, do you know what, this is something that I'm really enjoying. Continuing to read Bird by Bird. We are going to be reading Writing Down the Bones. We are going to be reading On Writing by Stephen King, and we also have Write It All Down by Katty Rensenbrink. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And the action will be using my new Traveller's Notebook, do some low stakes writing, because I feel like I've made my writing prompt jar that I spoke about in my previous video, but it's just sitting there on my desk and I haven't used it yet because I'm like, oh, I need the perfect moment, I'm just not feeling like a writer today. And it's like, no, you just need to do these things. It's not about perfection, it's about the practice. We got the copy of On Writing from Chapters in Dublin. I got it with some vouchers I had from Selling Books. So this is my copy, and then the other books that I mentioned is a library copy. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned this book or not, but this is more so about writing online and writing cohesively, whereas I feel like the other ones are more like creative writing. But I just thought that this would be really useful for me, and just even in terms of my job and stuff, because I do write reports. And I have Bird by Bird, which I have somewhere on this desk. Oh, here it is. You've seen this. I've been showing this throughout the video. I have Bird by Bird, which I'm really enjoying. A September module, which is physical media. So I essentially swapped these two because this was a core module last month, and then I realised that it was just a little bit too vast, and I was like, okay, let's just narrow it down. Watch the documentaries I said I was going to watch last month, which is The Last Blockbuster, Side by Side, Rewind This, and All Things Must Pass. And I have a lot of articles in my Google Docs list to follow on that. Just to say that, like, I have been consuming physical media, but I have gone down the Grey's Anatomy rabbit hole. So I watched season 1 and this is season 2, and I've been buying these from Vinted, I think it is. No, charity shops and Vinted, because the wait time in the library is a little bit too long and I need to know what's going to happen. I got some more stuff for family movie night. So I got Pet Cemetery. I feel like my parents showed me this when I was a child and it really scared me if this is the same movie, because I don't know if this is a remake. I read this book when I was like a teenager, and then I saw the movie in the library. Module is a new one, and this is a September module, and this was kind of came from the graphic design module that I did last month. So I actually do have one of the graphic design books left that I haven't returned to the library, and it is this one here, which is freehand new typography. So basically these graphic designers drew fonts, which is pretty amazing, and some of them are just beautiful. Like, Excuse me, how nice is that? So I actually wanted to take a few scans from this book and print them out for my file of fact. This is in a block grid. I don't know if you can see. So following on from the graphic design module, we have note taking and creating a notebook ecosystem. And this is called the Curiosity Path. So the biggest thing that I want to do, start an index card system, which is where the Anne Lamott quote came from. So I have purchased this lovely wooden box, and inside are index cards. And I actually got this idea from another YouTuber, and I will put her name here. So thank you for that, because I was like, wow, this is such a good idea. So it's kind of following on from what I was saying earlier, that it's good to have a place to record and store information. And in this module, I basically want to learn a little bit more about reading actively. This is the very early stages of this module, so if anyone who is watching this knows more about this than me, please do feel free to share with me. So as I said, I have the index card system that I want to set up. I have my file of facts, which is the personal size, and I may or may not have ordered a secondhand pocket one, which is on the way from Vinted. And then I want to set up my traveller's notebook and just make the most of that. So I want to have my field notes in there for things that are coming up. I want to do some creative writing in there. And then when my morning pages notebook for the Artist's Way is finished, I will also put that in there. And I was just briefly looking at some people and books and sources for note taking, and Elizabeth Phillips came up on YouTube, Ali Abdal came up on YouTube, Ryan Holiday came up, and then there was a book by Susan Wise Bauer, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, called The Well-Educated Mind. So I do really think that taking this module will help me, because I feel like sometimes I am reading these new things and I really want to connect with it more deeply, and I feel like I need a way to record some of the key learnings. A lot of these books are from the library, so it's not as if I can annotate them, or it's not as if I can just put sticky notes in them and keep them. I will be giving them back. So that's kind of where this idea is coming from. So if anyone has done an index card system or anything like what I'm talking about now, please do let me know, because this is brand new for me, but I am very excited. I feel like I'm getting real. I feel like September is the month of getting real. It's the academic new year, so it's all coming together. My reading electives, and they are in pink, and we have revisiting classics, and this month we are going to be reading Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So I feel like I read half of this when I was about 12 and I had no idea what was going on. So I do hope that this time I will have a better understanding. So I have the physical copy, I have the Kindle copy, and I have an audiobook. Another audiobook, which is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. So I did want to try get a physical copy of this, but the library didn't have them yet, so I was able to get an audiobook version. And then I have two just for fun books. So one is on my Kindle, which is The Dream Home. I am about 60% through this, and it's like a really creepy, spooky thriller, like what's going on in the house type situation. So I've been really enjoying this. And then my next one is from the library, and it is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Just to say, for the Revisiting Classics module, I read Brave New World last month and it was amazing. My boyfriend was so right. I really enjoyed it. It felt very contemporary. The first few chapters, it took me a little while to get into, because I was a little bit like, is this what they're talking about? Like, is this what I think they're talking about? But it was absolutely unhinged. Like, I feel like it reads like a contemporary book, and I know one of you was saying that there is a series that may or may not be based on the book. Next up we have our Magic and Delight module, and that is in purple, because I feel like that just sums up magic and delight. So we have that I want to DIY some stationery, like pages and stuff like that, for my file of facts. Already I've kind of got busy, so I'm covering that because that's my email, my phone number. But I don't know, can you see a picture of my cat with some hair extensions on his head? I have a painting I saw in the charity shop which I really liked, and this is a scan from a book that I got from the charity shop. I also want to do some like charm trinket making, keychain making, and that is simply just to decorate my Filofax, decorate my traveler's journal, and maybe just a gift to some people. So a new thing I want to visit is oil pastels. So I have ordered some, they're on the way. Can I draw? No. But do I want to try? Yes. Just adding classical music to everything. So I mentioned already, I like listening to classical music in the mornings when I'm doing my morning pages, but just classical music I'm working, or classical music I'm reading a book. That I want to do more of is drawing on Procreate on my iPad. Did do a few years ago, but then I fell off with, and I have this mini printer that I got last year. It's a thermal printer, so it never needs ink, and it kind of prints on like the paper, I would say, is comparable to a receipt, like a paper receipt, but it's perfect. I want to leave you on a quote from The Artist's Way before I wrap this up. Growth is an erratic forward movement, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Remember that and be very gentle with yourself. A creative recovery is a healing process. You are capable of great things on Tuesday, but on Wednesday you may slide backward. This is normal. Growth occurs in spurts. You will lie dormant sometimes. Do not be discouraged. Think of it as resting. That's something that we do need to keep in mind, that we have these grand plans every month and we're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And that's why I wanted to show you how my September curriculum is looking in comparison to the August one, how I tweaked and changed, how my approach has changed, and just to be kind to yourself, because you might take tons of books from the library and only get to read one or none, and that's okay. It's all about enjoying, it's all about learning new things and connecting with people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, feel free to subscribe for more, because I will be doing more videos on this theme. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you will be doing a monthly curriculum, if you've started, or if you have any tips or advice for me. I'd love to hear it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.